Identification is important the moment a skeleton is found. So that we don't have expertise in this country, like what happened in Germany in 1999. The samples must be sent to some lab outside. Because there was heavy violence used against the Tamil people consistently, there was a reaction from the youth and they took up arms. But now, looking back, our people also realize that that has not delivered anything to us.
Moon Lanka, since 1995.
Welcome to another edition of Insight. I am Shiharanis. Today we have in our studio Mr. M.A. Sumanthiran, Presidential Council and General Secretary of ITEC. He had been a parliamentarian, an MP from 2010 to 2024. Unfortunately, he could not win in the last election. But he is the face of moderate in the the ITEC as well as for Tamils. Welcome to the show, Mr. Sumanthiran.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
You are more popular as a moderate, among the extremist, if I say. Do you regret to be a moderate because you got lost because of that as well?
No, not really. I don't. I mean, to answer your question, I don't regret the moderate tag. I think everyone should be moderate because extremism only polarizes people, and in a country that is multilingual, multi-ethnic, multicultural, one must necessarily be a moderate. No, I did not lose the election because I was a moderate. I lost the election because our party got only one seat this time in Jaffna. I'm saying that because two previous occasions when I was elected from Jaffna, on both those occasions I came second in our party list. This time also I came second in our party list, just that we got only one seat.
How do you see the defeat of ITEC during the last election?
Yeah, that's a very interesting phenomenon. In the presidential election, we supported Sajith Premadasa. And in all the 8 districts in the north and east, Sajith Premadasa won. And we were the only Tamil party who supported him also. Now, if you take Jaffna, presidential election, Andhra Kumar Dissanayake got 27,000 votes. But in the parliamentary elections that followed just a couple of months thereafter, they got 80,000 votes, more than 3 times. So this is a phenomenon that's very difficult to explain, except to say that there was a massive wave. Once he won the presidential election, albeit only by 42%, that's the first time ever that a Sri Lankan presidential election, somebody got less than 50%. So he got only 42%. But when he won the election, that created a massive electoral wave. And that swept the north as well.
Okay, let's come to the hardcore politics now. ITEC has been long demanding for the implementation of 13th Amendment with police and land powers. And you have been supporting one after the another leader to get your demand done. But still, it's not done yet, right? What are your efforts to get that done during in this government?
We have our party that was formed in 1949 has constantly been trying to shift the governance structure to something akin to a federal model. That's why we are called the Federal Party as well. Now that effort hasn't still borne fruit. There were early efforts with the pact signed with Mr. Bandaranaike, then another pact signed with Mr. Dissanayake. That effort still goes on. And through Indo-Lanka Accord, we have a power sharing arrangement through provincial councils. That's the 13th Amendment. But that's part of the Constitution. So all that we are saying is that as a start, implement what is there in the Constitution. If you have sworn to uphold the Constitution, surely you must implement what's in the Constitution. But that is no solution to the Tamil question. The solution, we say, must be greater devolution. It must be in a federal model. Even if the word federal is not used, it must have features of a federal arrangement. So to achieve that, we will work with anyone who has a mandate from the country to rule the country.
Sumanthiran, now there are concerns about ITEC, how it has been trying to attract the voters. One thing is said is like they feed Tamil nationalism and kind of extremism among Tamil, and they always oppose whatever the solution given by the government. What do you want to say about that?
No, that is not a fair criticism because we are known as a moderate Tamil party. We are not given into extremism, but we are Tamil nationalist. We say there's a Tamil nation in this country just as much as there's a singular nation. And that must be given due recognition. Now, how do you give due recognition to such an idea within one country? And that is by a power sharing model where the Tamil areas can rule themselves in their day-to-day affairs. So, any solution that is put forward, we have been supportive of to go beyond what we have in the 13th Amendment. And particularly in 2015 to 2019, we were very, very supportive of that effort. There was a Constitutional Assembly formed, etc. Unfortunately, that process could not be completed. Now, in 2019 election, Sajith Premadasa promised that he'll complete that process. 2024 election, in Anurakumara Dissanayaka's manifesto, the second promise that he has given is that he'll complete that process. It specifically says 2016 to 19 process will be completed. So that's a process that we fully supported.
Are you referring to the full implementation of 13th Amendment?
No.
Or
2016 to 19, there was a Constitutional Assembly.
Yes.
That drafted a new constitution. He says that process will be completed. That process could not be completed at that time because there was a constitutional coup. Maithripala Sirisena made Mahinda Rajapaksa Prime Minister. Then there was a change. That government lost majority, so it couldn't be completed. But the current president has said in his election manifesto that he will complete that process, very specifically that process. Now, that process goes well beyond the 13th Amendment. It also abolishes executive presidency. So, these are guarantees that have been given even by the current government.
And going back to 1983 violence and then, what followed after that, the war and Tamils almost lost everything, right? Looking back on the war and, the struggle Tamil had, do you think it could be justified for what they have now, what they have achieved now?
No, not really. We have not achieved. We have only achieved in 1987 when the Indo-Lanka Accord established a provincial council system. Now, even that has not been fully implemented. So, perhaps the first step is to fully implement 13th Amendment. But even at that time, we said the 13th Amendment doesn't fully reflect the spirit of the agreement in Indo-Lanka Accord. So we must go beyond that. That is why even Mahinda Rajapaksa gave several assurances to India, saying, I will fully implement the 13th Amendment and go beyond that to achieve meaningful devolution. So full implementation is the first step. Achieving meaningful devolution is the second step. And that was given soon after the war ended, several times. And that is a matter that we are still awaiting.
But I mean, about beyond 13th Amendment, what do you mean by beyond that? I mean, what we know at the moment is there is no land and police powers, right? But other than that, they have right to...
That also, whatever that was granted by the 13th Amendment has been taken back. Step. Several powers were taken back. Divinaguma is a very good example. When the Divinaguma bill was passed, the Supreme Court itself ruled that 15 powers of the provincial councils were being taken back by the centre. Previously also, on and off, they've taken back powers. So, what we mean by going beyond the 13th Amendment is, once you devolve power, centre shouldn't be able to take back those powers unilaterally. With the consent of the provincial council, yes. But unilaterally, if you take back powers, what's the whole point in devolving power? You give it with the right hand and take it away with the left hand. So, that is a matter that we want established. Right? And we want powers that have now been taken back after the 13th Amendment to be given back. Right? And some more powers as well, because financial powers are lacking in the 13th Amendment. Police and land powers particularly, are also incomplete. So, we would like a very clear delineation of powers as to what is in the centre, what is in the province, and what the province gets, the centre should not be able to take back. So that is what we mean by meaningful devolution or going beyond the 13th Amendment.
Okay. Now, if you take the other provinces, Suma, now we don't see others basically fighting for the devolution, right?
No, all the provincial councils are asking for more powers.
Well, but
they have even
not at Now, your party had the control in the northern province from 2013 to 2018. During that period, did you fully implement the 13th Amendment, whatever the clauses that could be implemented?
No, that was a great failure on our part. We brought in a retired Supreme Court judge to be chief minister, hoping that he will lead the way to establishing a provincial council that fully exercises all the powers that were available. Unfortunately, he was more interested in passing resolutions and not interested in implementing the powers that were given to him. The extremists amongst us had got to him and convinced him that his job was to demonstrate that the 13th Amendment was flawed. And that was the entire purpose of his chief ministership. Well, that was a very wrong approach. And I think we have a huge setback as a result of that failure.
Now let's come back to your defeat in the last election. How do you feel about it, Suma?
It's not a defeat. It's just that I was not elected to parliament by the current electoral system. But that's the system. One has to accept it. The party immediately offered me the nationalist seat. But I refused it because I think in this particular system, once you face a the constituency, and if you are not elected, then you mustn't find other ways of coming in. If your name had been in the national list to start with, that's a different matter. So I am not despondent, or I am not disappointed that I am not in parliament, particularly during this 1 year of this parliament. And what happens in that parliament, often I think it's a good thing that I am not there.
Why?
Well, all kinds of mayhem that happens. There are, as former President Ranil Wickremesinghe said, it's an elbowed government. They are clueless as to what is expected of them. Opposition also consists of persons who are, not serious. So what happens in parliament now seems like, a joke. A lot of people tell me, people like you not being there has resulted, but I don't think, me or one or two other persons could have made any difference. So I now am glad that I was not elected to this parliament.
Now, in your initial remarks, you said you could not explain that phenomena, why Tamils voted for NPP after voting for Sajith in the presidential election. What actually happened? What was the difference in between that 2 or 3 months?
No, it's just an electoral wave. This happens everywhere. When somebody wins, people think, okay, he has won. Now he must have the
But
party
usually
also.
we don't see that in the north, right? We haven't seen that in the north.
North is the first time this has happened. So I don't know. I can't put a finger on. People were perhaps disappointed with us also, because although we stick to our policies, we have not been able to deliver it. Right? And particularly during the Sirisena Wickremesinghe era, we cooperated with the government and we tried to bring a new constitution. That failed. So all of those failures, I think people were rather disappointed. They listened to us and voted for Sajith, but that also ended up in a failure. Sajith didn't win. So perhaps they thought, no point backing these guys anymore. Let's vote for this change that the whole country seems to be wanting, and join that chorus.
Suma ITEC has been always requesting for a new constitution, implementation of 13th Amendment fully. Right? There are a number of requests, and they have been made it consistently. Right? Out of the last, few governments, maybe under Premadasa, Chandrika, then Mahinda Rajapaksa, Gotabaya Rajapaksa, Sirisena, and Ranil. I mean, whose government was so close to the TNA and was ready to give you what you want?
Chandrika's government very clearly was one of those, because she even brought a draft constitution bill to Parliament on the 3rd of August 2000. That's the closest we got to, replacing this constitution. So I would say she was perhaps the, person who was most keen to change the system in that way. I might say even Sirisena, to his credit, cut down powers of the executive presidency by the 19th Amendment. Then fully supported that process of a constitutional assembly. And Ranil also played a part in that. So I think these three persons at some point or the other were keen to resolve this by means of a new constitution. But electoral compulsions might have at another point in time change their behavior. I must say even Anurakumara Dissanayake was part of the steering committee in the 2016 to 19 process along with us. And he cooperated well. He was very, very useful in the deliberations. They agreed with most of the issues that we agreed. But now that he is in the seat of power and having been elected mostly by the Rajapaksa vote, 3% to 42% is mostly the Rajapaksa vote. And they are not exactly devolution friendly. He's probably now dictated to by those electoral compulsions. So even by force of conviction, what he agreed with us during 2016 to 19, he seems to be now backtracking rather.
Going back to your electorate, Jaffna, we have seen some, protest about illegal land occupation, and then, these temples coming, especially in Tahiti, right? I mean, this has been going on for a long time, these protests, right? What's the real situation?
The real situation with regard to Tahiti is a bit complex. But generally, this has been the trend of private lands that they have military had occupied. They have built their own shrines and statues and all that kind of thing. But here there is a vihara itself that had been built on private land. There was another vihara close by, Tissa Vihara. And the junction was also called Vihara Junction. So it's been there for a long time. But without renovating that, they've gone and built on somebody else's land. So that's the issue. Unauthorized structure and so on. So, building Buddhist viharas in areas where there are no Buddhists is clearly indicative of a program of subjugation, of showing, those people who live there, we are superior, we'll, enforce it. In Trincomalee, in the Kuchavali division alone, 38 new viharas are being built. Right? There are hardly any Buddhists there, maybe 1% or less. But they're building. And military is building it. So it's not only in Jaffna, it's in various parts. To assert or stamp their superiority, because they are superior in numbers, they bring these Buddhist symbols and force it down the throats of people who live in that area. It's a majoritarian, agenda that is being played out.
Now, you recently called for Tamil NPP MPs to resign over the Trincomalee Buddha statue issue, right? So, do you see that NPP's new Sri Lanka is just the same old majoritarianism in a different mask?
Yes. See, that Trincomalee issue demonstrated something very, very clearly to us. As it was brought to the minister's attention that the police are protecting installation of a Buddha statue, immediately they did the right thing. Orders were given to remove it. And despite protests from Buddhist monks, everything, they forcibly took the statue away. But when they found that was causing repercussions to them electorally in the south, the minister comes to parliament and says, no, we removed it to protect the statue. All lies. That was not what happened. And caved in. So they actually surrendered to this majoritarian view. So that was very sad to see that initially they did the right thing. But when they found that, their voter base was getting disturbed, they immediately caved in. So that is why I called on the Tamil members of the NPP to resign, because then they were not behaving any better than the previous regimes.
Let's go to the ITEC's consistent request on demilitarization and handing over the lands. Any progress under this government, Suma?
No, this government in the north released 2 roads. Released meaning they just opened up. One was just prior to the parliamentary election. That was some 618 meters long. That's all. It had previously been released. There was a board also there saying President Ranil Wickremesinghe released that road. But for some reason, the barricades were not taken. So he took the barricades away. That's all. Then, just before the local government elections, another road was opened, Palali Road. But even to date, that road, you can only travel by car. You can't stop the car. You can't get off. You can't travel by motorcycle or cycle. You can't walk. And even by car, you can only travel between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. What kind of road is that? The road has not been opened. Not a single inch.
You're talking about Palali Road.
Palali Road. Not a single inch of land has been released after this government came to office. Under Maithripala Ranil Wickremesinghe time, about 4,000 acres were released just in that area alone. Here, nothing. Right? In Batiklo, they removed 2 army camps and released those lands. Small areas, but nevertheless, 2 lands were released in Batiklo. So apart from that, nothing has been released. And this government, this party, while in opposition, has strenuously campaigned for military to hand back lands that are owned by the civilians. But they themselves, after 1 year in office, don't have anything to show.
Moon Lanka, since 1995.
And if you talk about the post-war scenario in the north and east, there were ambitious plan for reconstruction, rebuilding, and then rehabilitation. How do you see after 14 or 15 years after the end of the war? How do you see things moving?
Infrastructure development was done by the Rajapaksas. Roads and bridges and things like that. But for people's lives to be uplifted, there very little that was done. During Maitri Ranil period, a lot of developmental aid was sent. We were hoping that will create more economic activity resulting in job opportunities and so on, but that doesn't happen. So, 15 years after the war ended, there is no fighting, but our people still keep leaving the country because there is no jobs for the young people, no livelihood opportunities. So, looked at from that angle, there has been no progress at all. Time and again, we have asked for, pave the way for investments. There are people who are interested in investing there. But the red tape of government is so, severe, and that very few people will actually come and invest. So that is another reason why we ask for devolution. You grant those powers to the provinces, and the provinces will take care of that. And people will have more confidence, particularly the Tamil diaspora that left the country due to violence against them. They're not going to just come back and invest here if it is still under the control of the central government. But if power is devolved and provincial councils have meaningful powers of governance in their hands, then I'm sure a lot of the people in the Tamil diaspora who have done very well for themselves after leaving the country will want to come and invest here.
In your view, Suma, why successive governments are not allowing the devolution or implementation of 13th Amendment?
I think it's just a paranoia that those areas will develop faster. There'll be better governance in those, and that will be compared to the south. The majoritarian mindset is one that wants to control everybody within their sphere. So I think just a majoritarian mindset. That's all. Nothing. I mean, if they think about it, why should they hold on to the other people? Let the other people make their own decisions, right? But this is power, exercise of control and power. Often majoritarianism is that power over others.
Let's come back to on the post-war accountability. Now it has been almost 16 years, right? More than 16 years, I guess. But still, people are not satisfied about the disappeared people, disappeared relatives, and people who were killed, but still they don't know what happened to them, right? And still Sri Lanka is under UN resolution. Despite their own disagreement, still the UN is pursuing the resolution to find out what actually happened. 16 years after the end of the war, how meaningful it is to go to pursue this accountability. The one thing, I mean, this is what the government asks. Second one, how do you see the mindset of those people who are the victim of all these disappearances, being killed, and they handed over the people to the government, and still they are trying to find out what happened to them?
Yeah, if I answer your second question first, they want justice. They want to know the truth. And nothing is going to satisfy them short of actually telling them what happened. And even if time is taken, I don't think that will, finish this quest for justice. Because their children and their children's children will pursue this. So, therefore, coming to the first question, the fact that there has been a time lapse of 16 years has not diminished the call for justice in this area. So, until the truth is revealed, there will be the high agitation for the revelation of the truth. They will want justice done. But even if by fraction of time you can't punish anybody, still they'll want the truth to be revealed. Until that happens, that dissatisfaction, that disillusionment will remain.
What about the progress so far?
So far there has been no progress at all, because the Office of Missing Persons, which we strove hard to bring to operation, has not even done one single investigation. Okay? All they have to do is to take a few cases, investigate, and find out what happened to that person and release that information. Now, after all these years, after almost 30,000 complaints, they haven't even done even one investigation. So that's a huge failure. That's why the UN resolution is still on. If we had done what we promised to do, and through these institutions, found what happened to various persons, then through another process of truth and reconciliation or whatever, the whole thing could have been settled. But until there is an acceptance and an owning up that these things happened, people who are affected by that are not going to, throw their arms up and wait. They will keep agitating.
But do you see the same support internationally you got soon after the end of the war?
Yes. I think the longer the delay is, the stronger the support comes. Because all that the government has been able to do is give us time and space. Give us a little more time. Give us time. So you give time. And then if you still don't do it, then the question is stronger. So international support, yes, there is. Locally also amongst the people, that is there, although they may not articulate it all the time because existential issues come up. But if you ask anyone at all, they will say, no, these things must be done, and then mass graves are being discovered all over the place. So when that happens, then this whole issue comes up again. So it's not going to die down until you face it squarely and deal with it.
On the mass graves, now there have been several. I mean, in the recent past also, even in Germany, I think they have found new skeletons. How would you want to investigate the mass graves?
Identification is important the moment a skeleton is found. So that we don't have expertise in this country, like what happened in Germany in 1999. The samples must be sent to some lab outside. And then in this particular issue, we have complaints around that time in that area, around 97, 96, 97 and so on. And therefore, there is a record of who went missing at that time. Their relatives are still around. You can do a DNA test to see whether any of these matches. So I think that is primary to identify. But what happens is they are excavating, taking the samples to the university, locking it up there, and that's it. And nothing is said of thereafter. That cannot be. You have to identify as to whose skeletons those are.
And do you see it's happening?
It has to happen. We will continue to pressurize the government to do that. You can't, excavate hundreds of, skeletal remains and then say we're not doing anything beyond that. That won't happen. So even international pressure will be brought on the government to identify those bodies.
Yeah. See, international pressure you can bring if the government is rejecting. Now the government is not rejecting, not refusing to do that. Only thing is they are delaying it.
Yeah. So even if they delay it, there is only so much that they can delay. Now they are delaying with regard to excavating more. But what I'm saying is, you don't have to excavate more with whatever you have already got. The next step must be taken. So that we will pressurize. The government says, yes, where we don't have expertise, we will get foreign assistance. So they must get that foreign assistance. So that we will pressurize and do.
On geopolitics, now Jaffna, the north, is the backyard of India, right? South India, and India has been very concerned about what's happening in the north, especially with Chinese investment and about other investments. Now people, when we talk to people, they always say our kith and kins are Indians, right? Whereas the fisherman issue has basically divided, this the kith and kin relationship, and now even the people are disappointed with what India is doing. I mean, how do you see this geopolitics in the north?
Yeah, we can't get away from the fact that we are just less than around 30 kilometers from the Indian coastline. So to that extent, India's concern as to what happens in their neighborhood will have to be taken as a legitimate concern. Now, with regard to the fisherman's issue, it's a narrow strait, and historically, even after IMBL was drawn, it's not drawn on the sea. So people stray this way, that way. That's not an issue. The issue here is bottom trawling, a particular method that destroys the marine environment. So that's bad for both. That's bad for everyone. So if it is framed like that, and that's what we did when we met with the Indian counterparts in 2017, a joint statement was issued, saying the practice of bottom trawling must be stopped. That's why we amended the law here also, banning bottom trawling. No, that is not implemented properly. And not only because that is against bottom trawlers in Sri Lanka also, not only the Indians. Because what has happened during this period of time is that initially Sri Lankans did not have bottom trawlers, but now they have. They have also started this practice. So this practice is not sustainable. It's a long time damaging to the marine environment. And on that basis, all bottom trawling is banned. This issue will resolve because traditional boats straying this way, that way has never been a serious issue.
Mm-hmm. So what is preventing stopping the bottom trawling?
That I don't understand, because we agreed with the Indian government that must be stopped. There's a joint statement issued. Subsequent to that, law was passed. But the law is not being implemented fully. And the complaints we have is that the Sri Lankan bottom trawlers bribe various officials and are able to operate. So when they do that, the Indians also say, oh, okay, there are trawlers on that side also. We'll also go and take. So this is what is happening. If the law is implemented to the letter, this issue will disappear.
Mm-hmm. But if you talk to the fishing community in Jaffna, they say that most of their people are leaving from the fishing livelihood. So
yeah, that's right.
Is this being discussed with India? Is this
well, it is. That is because the trawlers come very close to our coastline, and not only do they take our people's catch, they destroy our people's nets and various equipment also in the process. So the objection is to trawlers, not to Indian fishermen per se. So that practice, that environmentally destructive practice, must be stopped, and it's basically corruption that keeps that practice going.
What do you mean corruption?
That they are able to bribe persons who must act and implement the law and carry on with their business.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about Chinese investment in the north, especially in sea cucumber. Right? They started somewhere in 2016, I guess, or before that. And now most of the fishermen also have turned to this sea cucumber business, right? And they have a revenue from exports. How concerned are you about Chinese coming into the backyard of India? And
yeah, we are very concerned because you see, we don't want Sri Lanka, and particularly the north, to be a battleground for two regional powers. Right? Now, if Sri Lanka was located in South China Sea, for instance, we should be then very concerned about China's security concerns. But we are not there. We are in the Indian Ocean and only 30 kilometers from Indian coastline. So India's defense concerns must be taken as legitimate by us. So if we leave room for Chinese who are hostile to India to, come to our land and set up various, establishments here, naturally India is going to be concerned because it's just a hop, step and a jump. So our policy may be non-aligned, but that doesn't mean that we can give equal space to China as we give to India. No way. Because we are closest to India physically. Right? So that is a matter that the governments must keep in mind, that India's defense concerns must be taken as legitimate concerns and allowance made for that. If not, we will become the battleground for various others, and that's very dangerous to us.
But do you see successive government has taken care of that concern?
No, not really. They pandered to India to some extent, but they also pandered to China. They try to play the Chinese card against the Indians. Since the Indians are pressurized and do something to get them off their back. They, try to go to China, and, then India becomes soft. So this is a game that Sri Lankans have been playing. But I think in the long term, that's a very, very bad tactic to use. Where you're going to eventually fall out of both. So that foreign policy with regard to India must be very, very clear. We don't subjugate ourselves to India, no way. But at the same time, that India has a very, very legitimate concern about its own defenses, and whether that is being breached in Sri Lanka is a matter that we must fully cooperate with India.
Now, North and East, they have suffered from this 26-year war, and they have gone to the worst, and still some of them are suffering, even after 16 years after the end of the war. Do you see something good has happened from that war, right? And do you see, how do you see Prabhakaran's ruling in the North and East vis-a-vis what's happening now?
Well, that was a particular point in time, because there was heavy violence used against the Tamil people consistently. There was a reaction from the youth, and they took up arms. But now, looking back, our people also realize that has not delivered anything to us, except perhaps a recognition worldwide that there is a community that has been fighting for self-determination, etc. That has sort of come out in public more than it would have if this war was not there. But at the end of the day, no war is beneficial to anybody, and any war is dirty, and there are several victims of war on so many sides, and the Tamil people have suffered the worst as a result of the war. Now, we didn't eventually win the war also. If we won the war, then at least sometimes you can justify it saying, okay, all these sacrifices have now got us this. So I see it as another experiment that was failed. But I don't criticize it, because I was not there in the 70s when they took the decision to take up arms. Maybe that was the only thing that they could do. In the world, we have seen in several instances where one had to have resort to weapons in order to stop marauding forces. So a decision was taken at that time that the only way to counter state terrorism and majoritarian rule was to take up arms. So that is a decision taken then that no one can criticize now. But whether our community should once again take up arms, no. I think everyone will be unison in saying no. Why do we say no? Because of our own experience of what happened previously. So, no violence anymore. But that does not mean that we give up our aspirations for a durable and a decent political solution. That we will continue, but without violence, because we have experienced that violence has resulted in the greatest damage to us more than anybody else.
As you correctly pointed out, I think most of the Tamil youth, after their higher education or even before that, they leave the country, right? The cream of the society, we basically lose this because of, they want to go for a greener pasture, or they want to go for a better job, or they don't find employment in Sri Lanka. How do you see the future of Tamils?
So we need to resolve this issue if we are to see our youth remaining in the country. So political resolution of this is a sine qua non if we are to see that happen. And so that is why our party and we are constantly at it, urging that be done. Because if it is not done, as you have asked, I think it will end up in a massive disaster for the whole of the country. So country is already bankrupt, right? Now to come out of it, also we need help. And there is a great opportunity that those who were chased away from this country and have become a very powerful diaspora can help. But for them to help, the core political issue must be settled. If that is settled, then their help will also come. International help will also come. And we will very soon become a prosperous nation.
In terms of your discussions and mingling with the Tamil diaspora, what are their concerns and what do they pledge to develop?
A large majority of them are very, very supportive of uplifting the life of the people who remain here. But at the same time, if they bring in money, they want to see that is secure, that there is proper returns for it, and so on. So that is one reason why they want. They don't want to invest their monies when the central government is in control, because they've had a very bitter experience where they had to flee the country. So they don't want to bring all their life's earnings and whatever now and give it to the same people, in their minds, the same people who chase them out of this country. But if there's a political resolution and North and East is governed by people of that area, then people from there who went abroad will be happy to come and in. So that is, I think the requirement is that there is proper devolution, proper sharing of power and control, not solely in the hands of the central government.
What's your understanding, ITEC's understanding with the current government before they came to power?
Well, before they came to power in 2016 to 19, they agreed with us on what extent power sharing should be. But now that they have come to power, they seem to be dictated to by other voices. So now their position is not known. But before they came to power, they were agreed with us as to the extent of power sharing.
The next parliamentary election is in 2029. Are you aiming for a comeback?
No, I can't say that just yet. I did not have an intention of going beyond 2029. But that was on the basis that this would be my, last parliamentary term, but that has not happened. So therefore, I cannot make any decision now. I will work until that point in time, now that I'm at the helm of our party as General Secretary of the party, and see how things change and make my decisions at that point in time.
How do you see you being perceived as a moderate as well as a Kalambu Tamil, face of a Kalambu Tamil among, Jaffna people? Is it advantageous for you or disadvantageous?
It's advantageous because I think the large majority of our people are moderate. And they see the value of somebody who has connections in Colombo as being a person who can be the bridge, who can negotiate with the government. Because often people who are entirely from the province who come here struggle to make that connection. You see, the culture is different, friendships are not there. It's very difficult to move forward. So I think our people recognize that, although some might criticize it. Being able to talk to governments in office and so on, that you have to have someone who know their language, meaning not just linguistic, but how they operate. Otherwise, sometimes you are in two different silos. You say something and these people understand something totally different from what you are saying. So that bridge is very, very important.
One last question. How do you see your political future from now onwards?
Not sure yet. I have never sort of charted a course and said, okay, this is where I will start and this is how I will end. It's developed as developments happen in the country. So as it is, my task is to guide my party to be in a very strong position to be able to negotiate with the government. I think after the local government election results, we got to that point. We are pressing for provincial council elections early. And we are confident that we will secure the north and the east at the provincial council. Then our position will be even stronger. So that is my next task of strengthening the party so that the party can be the vehicle of our people to negotiate with the government.
Thank you, Mr. Sumanthiran, Presidential Council and the General Secretary of Ilangai Tamil Arasu Katchi, for your insight and opinion.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
That's it for the day. Let's meet in another episode in the Insight. Thank you.
Moon Lanka, since 1995.